Alright, we have an update for Super Mega Baseball 4. We're gonna do something a little different here on the accessibility front. Once we get this sick intro out of the way here. So...
Play.
Well, that's... okay, I heard play. What? Can you read me the thing? Okay, I'm gonna assume that X is gonna be a yes.
Accessibility.
We have accessibility options in Super Mega Baseball 4. Check this
Menu
out.
speech to text chat. Menu narration. Enabled.
Okay.
Menu narration volume.
So it doesn't read that, but I'm assuming, do we just work?
Text to speech. Menu narration volume.
Alright, we're gonna leave that up for now.
Text to speech.
Yeah, it's reading
Menu
them,
text
so
to speech.
text to speech.
Enabled. Disabled. Enabled. Voice chat volume. Speech to text general.
Nope, so these don't quite work.
Online. Cross voice chat.
So some of these work.
Sharing. Cross-platform,
sharing, cross-platform,
voice chat,
voice
text chat, force default, accessibility, menu narration, speech to text chat, play, options, play.
Okay, so it does read the menu. Let's see what happens when we jump into, for example, our... oh, hello?
Play, options, play.
Okay, so it doesn't want to read these, but I know franchise is 3 down. Alright, so we're not getting much here. So it doesn't look like any of this wants to read. So I can get to the main menu.
Play.
Is there any
accessibility. Accessibility. Menu narration volume. Text to speech. Disabled. Enabled. Voice chat volume. Speech to text chat. Disabled. Enabled. General.
So these it doesn't
accessibility.
like. Huh.
Options. How to play. Play.
If we go exhibition, just for thrill. So it doesn't want to read any of these of like what teams I have selected. If I go into a game, will it read these? No. Okay. So it sounds like, from what I'm seeing here, this is the only menu that actually functions.
Options.
So I've got play options, accessibility, how to play,
Play,
and back to the top. So once I actually go into play, at least as of right now, it's not reading any of these options. Let me just talk for a second about what would be helpful if this is a starting point. Because first of all,
Play.
Most games that have a text-to-speech feature in the menu require a lot of like using a cursor, which is silly and obnoxious. I appreciate that you can arrow through these play options, accessibility,
how to play.
And most of the game itself. Let's hop into my franchise that we've been working on this channel, which is the Bullets. So all of these would be able to be read over, so we have our play game, watch game, who's the what's it, player development, my team. All of these options would lend themselves very well to, you know, doing something, and then within the lineup, so let's say we're going to start our next episode, I could get a read on the players and make my adjustments. I think it's all doable. I think this is all because it's text inherently, and it sounds like the foundation is there in that main menu. I would love to see that carried through so that I could actually navigate any of the other menus here. So in terms of franchise, you know, being able to go down here to our player development and have it actually read off. So here's our first option. It could say Canopy Cannon, whatever this is, just for bros, and then read the little description. So proprietary formula scientifically proven to boost your self-image by 10%, and then talk about the increases. So +1 power, +1 speed, +1 fielding, and then read 12.5% chance of a bonus +2 power. You know what I mean? So go through and read each of the options, and then maybe when I click go or like click X, it would say, okay, do you want to spend 2.2 million out of your whatever. I don't know how you do that, but this is just kind of some, I don't know, state of flow thinking. The other big one is sign and release. This is not an easy one necessarily because you have so many different categories, but you could make your, when you're in text-to-speech mode, allow it to only read one column at a time. So, for example, first up on my team, we have Molly O'Connor. So, we have Molly O'Connor. She's being paid $9 million. She is a B-, and her chemistry is spirited. Her, she has the sprinter trait. And I don't know how you'd navigate, because there's so many different things. You have her position is catcher, her loyalty is 99, she is worth slightly more than I'm paying her, so I'll take that. But yeah, I don't know. Just trying to kind of do some thinking. So yeah, it's hard because these are all, I mean, this is a glorified spreadsheet is what this is. So in terms of numbers, having some different options for reading through these as you arrow through the different stats, and maybe like the arrows still navigate you side to side amongst the columns and the different sections, but maybe the stick could navigate you across each. So for example, my arrows get me to here where you're looking at your overall power, contact, etc. And then my stick could read, you know, overall B+, power 67, contacts 56, speed 58, fielding 85, arm 91. That way I could get a look at my players, and then always, maybe when I click the left stick, it would say the name of the player. So if I get sidetracked, I could click in the left stick and have it say, you know, Molly O'Connor. Just kind of a thought as in terms of navigation. So again, if my right arrow could get me so this next section has, looks like mostly just our overalls. This next section has our traits. And so if I use the stick from here, when text-to-speech is enabled, it could read me, you know, trait 1 of 1, sprinter. And then maybe even if I, you know, stay on that or hit a certain button, it would tell me what that trait does. You know, trait category, spirited, sprinter, you know, allows for +10 speed when leaving the box, or whatever sprinter gives you. I don't remember. Just some thoughts there, specifically around, because this menu is really, should be my home base, but because I can't navigate it accessibly right now, it's really hard for me to spend a lot of time in this menu in particular. And so what I end up doing is giving a general glance to a player like Sophia Coffey, saying, okay, she's my shortstop, she is worth 5.5 mil, I am paying her 5.3 mil, good enough for me, right? Maybe looking at their age, so Sophia here is 19, she's got a lot of good development time in her yet. That's a player I'd like to focus on going forward. But this menu should serve as a point to make these kinds of decisions around lots of different factors that are present here in SMB4 that, at least right now, I had hoped to kind of get a good gauge for. But that's kind of my thoughts for specifically signing and releasing, because then I could do the exact same thing in this menu. So for sake of argument, alright, we're on Molly O'Connor. I'm going to hit, we're going to hit release player. So here we're going to look at another, so here's another challenge. Alright, we have Molly. We would like to replace her just for fun. I would never do this to Molly because she's a legend. We're going to replace her with Stumpmeyer. Okay? When I pull up this menu, there needs to be a way to navigate between the same stats for both players. As an example, don't let me hit X here, by the way. Molly has an overall of B+, Stump is a C-. Molly has power of 67, while Stumps is 49. So being able to maybe use the left or right stick or arrows to navigate up or down, and then the kind of like in the other menu, using the right stick to navigate between the two players to discover what thing that I'm on, to be able to compare notes between the two. And then there's a confirmation screen when you hit X. I'm not doing it because I don't want to accidentally replace Miss Molly. So that's kind of a thought there in terms of signing and releasing. Again, same kind of menu principles would apply here for navigation, because there's a lot of information on these screens that I just don't have access to right now through the text-to-speech. And the way that it is now, I don't spend a lot of visual time here. I kind of get the basic information that gets just enough for me to replace a player. Same kind of goes, I mean, my team, once you have this baseline for menu navigation specifically, the whole rest of putting things together in SMB4 on the accessibility front gets significantly easier, because this is your baseline for navigation. And so, as I'm just kind of giving my thoughts, I want, if there's a developer or somebody that watches this and wants to think about accessibility as a big hurdle, which it can be, in a game like Super Mega Baseball, this screen, this is your home base. And the only thing that would have to happen, especially for someone like me who isn't actually playing the games, there is a whole nother can of worms when it comes to in-game accessibility as far as gameplay goes, and that's something I'm happy to talk about in a future video if there's interest. But in terms of, you know, most of these, alright, view schedule. This would be fairly easy to do. For the moment, I am going to zoom in here. So the game we have coming up will be game number 30 on the season. And we have Ella on the mound for us. So when you're in this menu, we could say Game 30. Maybe at first you need to say who and where, so you could say at Dodge City Dockers. And then the projected starting pitchers for each club. So we're going to get a look at Avery, who's a right-hander. And then we would be countering with Ella, and I don't know, maybe you start with Ella on that. Yeah, not really sure on that one, but getting a look at the important stats, and that's really all you have in this screen is, you know, and then you could go up to a previous game. Let's say I wanted to look at the last ball game we played. So game 29 was at Dodge City Dockers. Lily Rocket was on the hill for us, and so that game's final was a 10-0 Dockers win, and the starter for them was Drill Navarro, who got the win, and Lily took the loss. So being able to see that information when you arrow over, so I could kind of look back at the season, which, by the way, doesn't look so good for us, but you know what? What are you going to do? We're struggling right now, and that is on full display as I talk accessibility, but what are you going to do? I'm working on it. And this accessibility could help me to further my own ability to manage a ball club and do so in a way that isn't as strenuous for me. Season standings could be fairly similar. We can kind of look at the different ways to sort. So right now, you have standings, and you have the wild card standings for the playoffs. So we are obnoxiously not making the playoffs, if that's a way to measure things. On the upside, neither are the Dockers, so I dig that. The Austin Herd, Louisiana Lizards, Hugoton Stationeers, and Hoboken Haulers are looking like they're going to be in more than likely. So lots to see there, but the standings could be a same where you arrow over and then you use the stick to navigate, and maybe a click of the stick takes you to your team, where it will say, you know, Bayfront Bullets Ball Club, you know, 17 of 20 or 20 of 20 or whatever it is, you know, last place in your division, current record, blah blah blah, whatever all these other numbers are. Precisely proving my point that I can't read them. But next menu to take a look at is the league leaders. This one's a little harder because you have 3 different things to sort by. So our top one is current season, we can go back to Season 2 of this series, and even Season 1, and take a look at what was going on at the time, which is kind of nice. And you have top 10, batting, 3 pitching, so it's kind of nice that we can kind of look at those things, and then the regular season versus the playoffs, which is kind of neat. So, lots to think about in terms of navigation, but I think that a lot of these could be doable. When we look at next guy over here, which is our economy, this is a screen, but should still be navigable, because there's kind of a lot to think about on this screen. So there's the little, tooltip at the very top, and then it says payroll, and it says budget and team payroll. So the budget overall is $180 million. I'm using 139 of those million on paying people, and my, surplus of money is 40 million big ones. And then on the bottom, it kind of breaks down how that 40 million is going to get distributed throughout a 32-game season. And the summary, kind of similar to the other things I've been talking about in terms of navigation and things like that. Lots to kind of think about in terms of navigation. The other thing I would like to get into is gameplay itself, but I'm going to talk about that, I think, in another video down the road. I like this as a foundation because
options.
This
Play.
could really work well. I think if this feature can be expanded so that when I hit play, I have the options of exhibition, franchise, elimination, and then within those I can actually navigate all these menus. This game not only could be accessible enough for me to really gain experience from now, but if there was to be changes to my vision and the accessibility options allowed for the versatility to play the game non-visually, I could continue playing this game, and I'd love to continue playing this game even if I were to lose my vision. So the possibility of that is really exciting to me, and something that I haven't really felt about a game yet, despite a few video games on the market having reasonable accessibility options. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that, and hopefully a lot of this, this is ground that doesn't get covered on the YouTube front very much. This doesn't get talked about in a lot of accessibility groups for the blind, because video games, by their nature, inherently are more often than not, they're not accessible in the first place. So my incoherent ramblings aside, I want Metalhead to see this as a fantastic step in the right direction, and I would love to be able to help in any way I can in terms of furthering that, because I love this game, I love playing this game. Those of you who have stuck around and actually watched the series itself, I hope that you're enjoying my spin on playing Super Mega Baseball and telling the insane story of the Bayfront Bullets and their trials and tribulations, the ups and downs, emphasis on the downs this season, but I want to be able to continue to do that in an accessible way, and this is a step toward doing that. So if you have any questions about accessibility in gaming, any thoughts on what might make sense for accessibility here, or any questions for me about how this could work or anything like that, please don't hesitate to put those in the comments. This was rambly, but hopefully made some kind of sense to you. And if not, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for checking it out, and we will talk more accessibility with Super Mega Baseball down the road, and hopefully we'll see you on the diamond pretty soon as we continue the series. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you soon. Peace.